Now here's what's important about disciplines. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive in saying, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. There are some things that matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter. We all pity the man who says, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key takeaway, every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process of personal development. If you don't take the walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. If you don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal and you won't take pictures and you won't do this. You won't do wise things with your money. You won't do wise things with your time. You won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships. And before you know it, 6 years of that have accumulated and we say, you have messed up. So the whole key to reversing that process now is to start picking up these disciplines. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest of your disciplines. Every new one affects the rest. That's why action is so important. The least action, the smallest action, take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one action, it'll inspire you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book. It'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal. It'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new action affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new, and you've started a whole new life process. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline. Self-worth and self-esteem. People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to disciplines. The slightest lack of discipline starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit, right? The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best affects not just your sales, but your consciousness and philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection, and if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. One neglect leads to another, and the worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value. You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should and I could and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay, let's get kids involved in the least of disciplines. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. The first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom, more attitude, stronger feelings, more faith, and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it, and now the equities start to flow. I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited you'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old ways. Join a new crowd, join a new group. The disciplines to do it, take action. I recommended the last time I was here the little book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and I said, I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years, and I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have actually gone and got this little book? Very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do in that last seminar, right? I suggested this little book. Number 1, it's easy to find. Number 2, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it is $6, $7, $8. You can borrow that from your kids. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? 90% don't or won't. We don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. Develop the ability to act. Take action. Not hasty if it isn't required, but don't lose much time. Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong, that's the time to act. You say, Mr. Rohn, I'd like to have a library like yours. See, if you feel strong about that, what you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim. Action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible, because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high, but now, if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, the intent starts to diminish. A month from now, it's cold. A year from now, it can't be found. So act. Set up a discipline. When the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful, that's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred and say, right, I need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process. Fall on the floor. Do some push-ups. Action. You've got to take action. Otherwise, the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise, the emotion soon passes unless you put it into a disciplined activity. Capture it. Discipline is called how to capture the emotion and how to capture the wisdom and translate it into equity. Discipline. You're looking at one of the faces I used to belong to, the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy. Guess how many people have a library card? The wisdom of the world is available. Transform your life in any value amount you want. By the way, how much is a library card in Texas? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, it can't be any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no. At least you've got to go get it. The wisdom of the world is available. Transform your life spiritually, socially, personally, economically, and in every other way. Teach you how to be rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy, influential. How many people have a library card? 3%. 95 to 97% couldn't be bothered. A guy specializes in happy hour, but he doesn't have a card and now readily and quickly blames the government and blames his company and blames policy and blames the pay scale when, if he only knew, if he joined the 3%. Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame list they cling to. Start a new life. You say, well, is it as simple as getting a library card and joining the 3%? And the answer is, of course. Of course. That's how easy this stuff is. This is so easy. It's so simple. It's not complex. You don't need a 2000-year-old guru. You don't need multi-track affirmations. I'm telling you, you don't. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Key, don't let somebody sweep you into some contrary way to nature itself. Unless you labor, the miracle of the seed, the soil, the seasons, God, and all the other stuff that's available, sunshine and rain, is not available to you by affirmation. It is only available to you by labor. So labor well, learn well, discipline yourself well, and you can have all the treasures you want. There's a saying from a wise person of the past that goes like this: good things will come to you at the right time. But here's the thing. You have to do some work before you can enjoy those good things. It's like planting seeds in the spring to get a harvest later on. Just hoping or wishing for good things won't make them happen. You actually have to do the work, like planting those seeds. It might seem tough at first, but if you take a chance and do things like talking to people, helping out, or taking risks, eventually good things will happen. You might not see the results right away, but if you keep at it, your hard work will pay off. You have the potential to achieve more than you currently have by becoming a better version of yourself. If you stay the same, your life will likely stay as it is. However, if you're open to making changes, the next 5 years could be completely different from the last 5. Without change, the next 5 years might mirror the past. Think of life and business as seasons that change, just like Frank Sinatra sings. Life is like the seasons. Remember, you can't change the seasons. They are fixed. Winter follows fall, spring follows winter, and then comes the harvest. But here's the crucial point. While you can't change the circumstances, you can change yourself. You may not control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond to it. In the past, you may have felt confused by the changes happening around you, but now you're more self-assured. While we can't control external factors, which are like the unpredictable wind, we have the power to change ourselves by adjusting our sails, refining our philosophy, shaping our attitude, and enhancing our disciplines. Seasons and circumstances may remain constant, but we have the ability to transform ourselves. We all face the same winds of circumstance and opportunity. The key is to make the most of it. Introspection is crucial. I found a teacher at 25, a time when I had many excuses for my struggles over the previous 6 years. I blamed the government, circumstances, taxes, and high prices, the usual list. However, my wise teacher taught me that the crucial factor in shaping my future wasn't changing external structures, but rather making personal changes amidst the inevitable challenges we all face. I realized I could be the driving force, the key player in shaping my own future. The moment I discovered this possibility, excitement kept me awake during the first year. The idea that I could make a significant change in my life and be the major force in determining my destiny was incredibly empowering. Instead of blaming the government or waiting for the economy to change before I could change, I shifted my mindset. I let go of the list of factors I used to blame and accepted that it was up to me. This realization brought me immense excitement because me was something I could actively improve. I couldn't change the entire economy or alter the banking structure, but I could change myself. I could set new goals, relocate, and break free from any sense of being stuck. Unlike a tree or an instinct-driven animal, I had the capacity to make choices and shape my own path. You possess the ability to think, reflect, reason, gather ideas, and make significant changes in your personal life. It's an ongoing project to explore what you can become throughout your lifetime. Personal development is the real key to a fulfilling life because who you become is more important than what you acquire. When it comes to your job, the crucial question isn't just about what you're getting, but rather, what am I becoming? It's true that what you become directly affects what you receive in life. Much of what we have is attracted by the person we've become. Personal development is genuinely the key to a fulfilling life because who you become is more important than what you acquire. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are now. Looking at the flip side, if you don't alter your current state, you'll continue to have what you presently possess. To attain the things we desire in the future, the first step is to become serious. Be serious about your personal commitment and dedicated to your future goals. Prioritize your personal development and make fresh commitments for the future. Next, get smart. Acquire knowledge to the fullest extent possible. It requires exceptional patience to learn, as valuable ideas often come in unexpected forms. Occasionally, a concise book may contain 10 excellent ideas, while a 500-page book might only have 2 or 3. Yet it's crucial to read both types of books. You need the patience to go through the lengthy 500 pages and the excitement of delving into a short book and extracting numerous ideas from just a few pages. Reading both is essential. You can't solely focus on shorter books. An essential principle is continuous improvement. Regardless of your lifespan, there's the potential to enhance yourself every day, every month, and every year. Strive to improve your understanding of life's complexities. Enhance your ability to handle diverse personalities, develop your skills in managing fear, and overcome worry. Aim to refine your communication skills using language that effectively helps people see and transform their lives. Work on honing your ability to envision your future, allowing you to expand your impact, encompassing not just your family, but also your community and country. Now, here's what's next. Pray for patience. It doesn't come easy, especially for those with ambitions. Ambitions to succeed, help others succeed, and conquer our world to the best of our ability. Being patient is not a simple task, but I urge you to pray for it. Sometimes it has to come as a gift, having the patience to deal with people and customers, whether they are easy or challenging. When promises are made and delays occur, practice patience. Extend patience to yourself as well. Take a moment to relax and be gentle with yourself. You'll discover that you have the capacity to change and grow. Here's my next bit of advice. Find some extra courage, especially when faced with challenging decisions. As you reflect on the decisions that brought you to this point, you'll likely realize that making tough choices is an ongoing process. When you return home, more decisions await you. In these moments, look within for answers. Some may come from external sources like history, legacy, reputation, or the people around you. However, the crux of the matter is that the most difficult decisions are yours to make alone. The courage to do so arises from within, especially when you find yourself in solitary moments, requiring you to dig deep and navigate uncharted decision-making territory. Here's a valuable checklist. Muster the courage to change when necessary. Take that leap. If reading is what you need, then commit to reading. If listening is essential, dedicate time to active listening. If growth is on the agenda, initiate the process. The crucial element is to have the courage coupled with a touch of humility. Regardless of the scale of your success, infusing a touch of humility will elevate your sophistication beyond imagination and enhance the brilliance of your story. Keep in mind, it's essential to teach the poor not to be cynical, and equally crucial to teach the rich not to be arrogant. Here's the following advice. Embrace the courage to compromise. Knowing when to make concessions is essential for fostering harmony within your local community or organization. Embrace the art of compromise. Give a little, allow others to give a little, and find the middle ground. Avoid being overly rigid. We don't want things to fall apart entirely. While it's crucial for everything to function effectively, mastering the skill of working together through compromise is equally important. Here's the next piece of advice. Have the courage to take risks. For many of you, being here required a considerable amount of courage, risking time, making necessary arrangements, and possibly committing to promises to be present. Now, as you return home, it's time to fulfill those promises. Act upon the knowledge and insights you've gained. Translate these notes into tangible actions. Action is the catalyst that transforms ideas into reality. Build cities. This constitutes the 6 days of labor. Remember, it's not about resting for 6 days and working on the 7th. The sequence is crucial. 6 days of labor followed by 1 day of rest. Rest only long enough to gather strength, no more. This principle applies to food as well. Consume only what's necessary to gather strength, as the purpose is not to eat for its own sake. The ultimate goal is to build, whether it's the city, the university, a career, good health, an organization, or the foundation for the future. Dedicate yourself to those 6 days out of 7 and witness the lasting impact you can create with your own voice and hands. A legacy for yourself, your family, and your future. Our inability to come to grips with a natural tendency to procrastinate will surely send us drifting in the wrong direction. You'll realize that tolerating this tendency is too costly to continue. Moreover, your excitement about your destination will be too compelling to postpone the necessary activities. Procrastination poses a significant threat to life, as when we delay tasks, they don't appear crucial in the moment. At the end of the day, a few neglected tasks might not seem like a big issue. However, allowing these days to accumulate can result in a disastrous year and eventually a calamitous life. What are you going to do starting today that will make a difference in how your life works out? Good question. What are you going to do? Look, if you don't do something starting today that will make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same. And you can guess what the next 5 years are going to be like. Just look at the last 5. The next 5 years will be like the last 5 unless you make a change. Make all the changes. The entire world operates under various laws: mathematical, physical, speed and velocity laws, agricultural laws, and many others. As inhabitants of this spinning planet, we must grasp what I refer to as life setup. We didn't create this setup. We find ourselves here, so it's essential to learn and understand it. Learning the setup serves 2 primary purposes. Firstly, it helps prevent harm. This is a major incentive for learning, ensuring that you avoid economic, social, and personal setbacks. Not knowing can lead to significant harm. Ignorance is not a state of bliss. It's poverty. It's tragedy. To safeguard yourself, you must acquire knowledge, or else you risk facing various forms of harm. Now here's a parenthesis. You don't have to like the setup. I'm not asking you to approve of how things are. That's not the crucial aspect. What does matter is understanding how things are. So it's okay if you don't like it, but it's essential to comprehend it. This is what I conveyed to the younger generation. Ensure you acquire the knowledge. Your personal feelings about it are your own, and what actions you take based on that understanding will soon be up to you. The priority is to make sure you grasp it. Nothing is more detrimental than being ignorant. Yes, being financially struggling is challenging, but lacking knowledge is far worse. The real trouble arises when you're both financially struggling and uninformed. That's almost the end of the world, unless, of course, you add being unwell to the equation. Being sick, financially struggling, and uninformed, that's the pinnacle of hardship. There's hardly anything worse than that. Therefore, ensure that you acquire the information. It's crucial, whether you like it or not. It's essential to understand. The primary reason for learning is to prevent harm. Now here's the second reason for understanding life setup: to gain benefits. Life consists of both negatives and positives, the downsides of tragedy, heartache, misery, failure, and unhappiness, and the upsides of happiness, prosperity, and positive feelings. The key is to learn how to align with the positive aspects of life. While I acknowledge that forming new habits isn't a simple task, it typically happens gradually, not in one drastic explosion. Change usually occurs by altering small pieces and parts over time. Most of us progress by consistently nudging ourselves in the right direction, adopting 1 or 2 new habits at a time, gradually making the necessary turn. And this is where the good life comes from, those personal changes. While you can't alter the seasons, you have full control over yourself. Affecting personal transformations requires 10% inspiration and 90% effort. Pushing for change is a starting point, but it must evolve into action. Inspiration and affirmation should guide you to instill discipline in your pursuits.